The rumble of motorcycles echoed through the quiet city streets as a group of rowdy bikers closed in on an unsuspecting taxi driver. To them, it seemed like an easy target, an isolated man, alone in his cab, with nowhere to run. But what they didn't know was that this wasn't just any ordinary driver. Beneath his calm exterior hid years of elite training and combat experience as a highly skilled special forces operative. As tensions escalated and the bikers circled, their taunts growing louder, the driver remained eerily composed. Every move, every breath, was calculated, as if he were assessing the situation with precision. The bikers had no idea they were poking a sleeping lion, and the tables were about to turn in ways they couldn't imagine. What happens next is a story of resilience, strategy, and a powerful reminder that appearances can be deceiving. The taxi driver tightened his grip on the steering wheel, his sharp eyes catching every detail around him. The bikers revved their engines, their laughter echoing in the night, as they blocked the narrow road ahead. It was a game to them, a show of power meant to intimidate. But to the driver, it was something else entirely, an opportunity to assess their strengths, weaknesses, and intentions. Years ago, he had left behind a life of covert missions and relentless training, trading his combat gear for a quiet existence behind the wheel. He wanted peace, a chance to disappear into the crowd. Yet, even as he drove passengers through the bustling city, those instincts never dulled. Tonight, those instincts told him this was no ordinary confrontation. He glanced in his rearview mirror, noting their positions and calculating his options. The bikers had no idea they were facing someone trained to handle far worse than them. The lead biker, a burly man with a scar running down his cheek, revved his engine and leaned closer to the taxi's window. "What's the hurry, old man?" he sneered, his voice laced with mockery. The others laughed, their headlights glaring like a pack of wolves ready to pounce. The driver, still calm, shifted his gaze from the biker to the empty street ahead. He didn't respond, didn't flinch, just sat there, as if waiting for the right moment. Meanwhile, inside the cab, the driver's radio crackled softly with static. He reached down, almost absent-mindedly, and turned it off. Every movement was deliberate, every action measured. His past had taught him that patience often won battles before they even began. But the bikers mistook his silence for fear, fueling their confidence. As they closed in tighter, he noticed something, a younger biker hesitating at the back of the group. The driver's keen eye caught it. Doubt. Perhaps an ally or a weakness. It was a subtle detail, but it might be the edge he needed. Time was running out, and the balance of power could shift at any moment. The leader of the bikers grew impatient, slamming his fist against the hood of the taxi. "You think you're tough, huh? Let's see how tough you are when you're out of that car," he barked, his voice echoing down the empty street. The others joined in, revving their engines and inching closer, their headlights casting long, distorted shadows. Still, the driver remained unmoved, his hands steady on the wheel. Inside his mind, he was mapping the situation, calculating every possible move. There were 6 bikers, 5 confident, 1 uncertain. The road ahead was blocked, but the alleyway to the right was narrow enough to maneuver through. He had spotted loose gravel near their bikes, something that could work to his advantage. Years of training whispered strategies to him, but he also knew the risks of escalation. As one of the bikers leaned over to yank open the door, the driver acted, not aggressively, but with precision. His calm demeanor shifted, his eyes sharp as he made his first move. The bikers, still cocky and unaware of who they were dealing with, had no idea that this calm before the storm was about to explode. Just as the biker's hand gripped the door handle, the driver shifted the car into reverse with an almost imperceptible motion. The tires screeched against the pavement as the taxi jolted backward, forcing the bikers to scatter. The sudden move sent a ripple of confusion through the group. their confidence momentarily shaken. But the leader quickly rode in anger, rallying his crew with a sharp gesture. The driver eased the car to a stop a few feet away, his eyes meeting the leader's in the rearview mirror. For a brief moment, the street fell silent, save for the rumble of the idling motorcycles. That's when it happened. Another figure emerged from the shadows at the far end of the street. Dressed in black, moving with purpose, the figure carried an air of danger that even the bikers couldn't ignore. The leader hesitated, his bravado faltering as he glanced between the approaching figure and the taxi. The driver, still calm but now more alert, took a deep breath. He didn't know who this newcomer was or whose side they were on. But one thing was clear, the night had just taken a turn neither he nor the bikers had expected. The stakes were higher now, and the margin for error had all but disappeared. The figure in black moved closer, and the tension in the air became palpable. The bikers exchanged uneasy glances, their earlier bravado giving way to uncertainty. The leader tried to mask his doubt, shouting, "Who are you? This has nothing to do with you." But the figure didn't answer. Instead, they stopped under a flickering streetlight, revealing a face partially hidden by a hood. The driver's sharp eyes didn't miss the subtle signal, a hand gesture only someone with elite training would recognize. In that instant, everything clicked. The figure wasn't an enemy, but an ally, someone from the driver's past, appearing at the perfect moment. The driver gave a slight nod, and the two moved in silent synchronization. What followed was swift and precise. The bikers, unprepared for the level of skill they faced, found themselves outmaneuvered. Engines roared, tires screeched, and within moments, the group was scattered, their arrogance shattered. As the dust settled, the leader, now alone and disarmed, glared at the driver. "Who **are you?" he demanded, his voice trembling. The driver stepped closer, calm as ever, and replied simply, "Someone you should have left alone." The figure in black disappeared into the night as quickly as they had come, leaving the driver standing amidst the silence. He returned to his cab, the faintest hint of a smile on his face. But as he drove away, his phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. It read, "You are not as invisible as you think. Stay sharp." The driver's smile faded. The night wasn't over yet. The taxi rolled through the quiet streets, its engine humming steadily as the driver reflected on the night's events. He had chosen this life to escape the chaos of his past, but moments like this reminded him that the past never truly stayed buried. The message on his phone lingered in his mind, a cryptic reminder that someone somewhere was still watching. As he pulled into a secluded parking lot to collect his thoughts, he glanced in the rearview mirror. His reflection looked calm, but beneath the surface, questions churned. Who had sent the message? Was it a warning or a threat? And why now? For now, the bikers were no longer a problem, and the streets were peaceful again. But deep down, he knew this was just another chapter in a story far from over. Taking a deep breath, he started the engine again and drove into the unknown, ready for whatever came next. The taxi rolled through the quiet streets, its engine humming steadily as the driver reflected on the night's events. He had chosen this life to escape the chaos of his past, but moments like this reminded him that the past never truly stayed buried. The message on his phone lingered in his mind, a cryptic reminder that someone somewhere was still watching. As he pulled into a secluded parking lot to collect his thoughts, he glanced in the rearview mirror. His reflection looked calm, but beneath the surface, questions churned. Who had sent the message? Was it a warning or a threat? And why now? For now, the bikers were no longer a problem, and the streets were peaceful again. But deep down, he knew this was just another chapter in a story far from over. Taking a deep breath, he started the engine again and drove into the unknown, ready for whatever came next.